More fallout in the wake of Friday's Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe v. Wade. A federal judge freeing South Carolina to enforce its ban on abortion beginning at around 6 weeks. The so-called fetal heartbeat law wasn't the first repercussion, certainly won't be the last of the court's most consequential decision in generations. Tonight, 3 days after the court overturned a woman's federally protected right to abortion, we're just beginning to get a very limited sense of what might follow. Here's what we know for sure. The orange states on the map have laws restricting abortion access, including 13 with so-called trigger provisions designed to kick into action after Roe v. Wade was overturned. Mississippi activated its version today, banning abortion 10 days from now, Mississippi. In Louisiana, however, a federal district judge put the state's trigger mechanism on hold. But even in states without them, where abortions are available now, some, like Pennsylvania, are just a 2022 governor's race away from banning abortion. Recent polling shows anti-abortion Republican Doug Mastriano within a few points of his Democratic opponent in a state where Republicans already control the legislature. And as for the substantial percentage of women who now end their pregnancies early with medication, there's the question of whether states can ban access to it, and it's an open question. So is what happens to in vitro fertilization, in which doctors create many fertilized eggs but freeze some or discard some because they might not result in healthy babies. Because some states now define life as beginning at the moment of conception, doctors worry the procedure could now be targeted by some legislators. Even before Friday's ruling, there were reports of patients and providers moving embryos to other states. Another question, to which there's no answer yet, what about miscarriages? Well, the prosecutors in some states turned the women who've had them and their health providers into suspects. There's also the question of the Supreme Court's credibility. New polling from Gallup shows confidence in the court at an all-time low, just 25%. A possible reason, justices who suggest one thing at their confirmation hearings then do the opposite on the court. Here's what Brett Kavanaugh said in 2018.
One of the important things to keep in mind about Roe v. Wade is that it has been reaffirmed many times over the past 45 years, as you know. And most prominently, most importantly, reaffirmed in Planned Parenthood versus Casey in 1992. That makes Casey a precedent on precedent.
Precedent on precedent that he voted to abandon. He suggested he wouldn't, but he did. Neil Gorsuch expressed similar thoughts, voted the same way. Maine Republican Senator Susan Collins, as you know, took both at their word and has said, quote, "This decision is inconsistent with what Justices Gorsuch and Kavanaugh said in their testimony and their meetings with me," unquote. As to the matter of precedent, Friday's ruling raises more questions. You'll recall in his concurring opinion, Justice Clarence Thomas called on the court to, quote, "reconsider all of this court's substantive due process precedents, including Griswold, Lawrence, and Obergefell." In case you're unfamiliar with the names, that means access to contraception, decriminalizing private consensual sex acts, and same-sex marriage. When asked whether Republicans who support Friday's decision should have to defend the possibility the court won't stop at abortion, here's what Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy had to say.
You read the opinion. Alito said, no, this is only dealing with Roe v. Wade, not with anything else. So I don't think they'll be used in a campaign because it's inoculated from there.
That's not what Justice Clarence Thomas is saying, and Vice President Harris sees Friday as just the beginning. Here's what she told CNN Standard Batch.
I definitely believe this is not over. I do. I think he just said the quiet part out loud. And I think that is why we all must really understand the significance of what just happened. This is profound.
Again, though much of what she's talking about is still down the road, if in fact it comes to pass, some is happening right now. The effects are hitting real people in real time. Our Randy Kay visited an abortion clinic in Alabama, one of 3 in the state.
Alabama Women's Center.
It's only 8 a.m. and the phones at the Alabama Women's Center in Huntsville are ringing off the hook.
Alabama Women's Center.
Just days after abortion suddenly became illegal in this state, this is now the standard response from staff.
Due to the overturn of Roe versus Wade, we recommend that you consider looking into other states.
This 18-year-old showed up at the clinic today still hoping to get an abortion, but was told they can't help her. She agreed to speak with us if we hid her identity. She says she's 2 months pregnant.
Did you know that Roe v. Wade had been overturned when you came here today?
I did, but I didn't know it was already causing places to stop doing them.
So you thought you could still come here and get an abortion today?
Yes.
And what did you think when you realized you
I just
couldn't
started
get one?
crying. I just don't think it's fair. No matter the situation, I feel like you should be able to have an abortion.
Dr. Yashika Robinson runs the Alabama Women's Center, one of just 3 abortion clinics that were operating in Alabama before Roe was overturned.
I felt powerless as a physician. You know, I know how to care for these patients. It's like you have the tools to help somebody and you choose not to help them. And that was hard for me.
Abortion is now illegal in Alabama, except in cases where the health of the mother is substantially at risk or the fetus isn't expected to survive. There are no exceptions for rape or incest. If providers break the law, they could go to prison.
I know exactly what my attorneys have told me is safe for me to say. And so I feel like somebody's calling me for help and I'm giving them a vague answer, and it feels very hypocritical to me.
You're concerned about aiding and abetting.
Exactly.
This 18-year-old, who asked not to be identified, came to this clinic for an abortion just days before Roe was overturned.
I'm proud of the decision I made.
She was 11 weeks pregnant when she had her abortion and is grateful she had a choice.
What do you think about all those women who have been turned away or had appointments canceled and now will no longer be able to get an abortion here?
I feel so bad for those girls because I remember this was a hard decision for me. I couldn't imagine being looked in my face and told no.
And now, after the other 18-year-old we met was told no at the clinic, she's even more scared as she tries to figure out what to do next.
Do you feel sort of lost right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have any idea where you'll go?
Mm-mm.
Do you feel like you're going to be forced to have this baby?
I mean, I know I'm gonna get it done, but like I'm gonna try because I don't want it and I don't want to have it, so I'm gonna try to go somewhere, but it's just stressful because I feel like I might not be able to find a place in time.
And Randy, as of right now, she said she would try to go somewhere. If she wanted to go to another state, what other states nearby would be available to her?
Well, right now, Anderson, Georgia would be the shortest drive from here in Huntsville, Alabama, but time is of the essence. That's because the governor of Georgia signed a bill into law back in 2019 which bans abortions at 6 weeks. Now that is caught up in court. Opposing parties can go to court. They can make their argument up until July 14th at this point, but that can change any day. So time is really important for this woman if she is going to make an appointment at a clinic in Georgia. And Dr. Robinson told us that a lot of these clinics in these states that are still allowing abortions are getting very overwhelmed and overcrowded, so these women do have to act fast. I would just imagine the scene, Anderson, this 18-year-old with a friend of hers in tow, these 2 young women on a summer day driving around visiting and surveying abortion clinics to see if one of them will go ahead and do that procedure. So it's a very difficult time for women, in fact, and not just these younger women, but Dr. Robinson told us about a 28-year-old woman, Anderson, who came into her clinic today looking to get her fallopian tubes tied. That would prevent pregnancy. And she's going to take that extreme step because she's very concerned about getting pregnant here in Alabama and not being able to have an abortion if she chooses to.
Yeah.
So she is going to take that step and have her tubes tied, Anderson.
Randy, appreciate the report. Thank